This here is the Volkswagen Amarok, and it was always pitched as a more luxurious version of the car this is based on, the Ford Ranger. But this one I'm featuring is an off-road specified version of the Life Grade. Only 300 will be sold, and it's called the 10 Deserts Edition, designed to celebrate Volkswagen's Guinness World Record, in which 3 drivers crossed Australia's 10 deserts within 6 days and 17 hours behind the wheel. And this has also received a great result climbing up Beer O'Clock Hill. So in this video, I'm going to talk about what is different, guide you through the car, take it for a drive, and also do some light off-roading. Now, this off-road version of the Amarok directly competes with cars like the GWM Canon XSR, the Ford Ranger Tremor, and the Isuzu D-Max Blade, and this has a price tag from around $68,000 before on-road costs and a single powertrain choice, the TDI 500, Ford's Biturbo diesel engine, and this colour, clear white, is the only colour you can have. And Volkswagen offers a 5-year unlimited kilometre warranty, and the servicing every 12 months or 15,000 kilometres. So let's now talk about the off-road enhancements. As you can see, this has received a 40mm lift kit, so raised ARB suspension, but it is worth noting that you can add that on as an accessory on a standard Amarok. And looking underneath, underbody protection and 2 unrated recovery hooks. Along the side, 17-inch black wheels with all-terrain tyres, special 10 Deserts Edition decals, and coming to the back, a soft tonneau cover, a black sports bar, and it's also worth pointing out some of the highlights to this grade, the Life: LED headlights but no matrix LED system, electric folding mirrors with projection lighting for nighttime, plastic side steps, a black plastic step-up bar, a spare wheel beneath the tub, but no LED lighting at the back, just halogen rear combination lights. And if we take a look at the tub, there is no soft tailgate opening, but the dimensions have not changed. You get 920 kilograms of payload. However, there is no tub liner, but there are some tie-down points and LED lighting. Okay, let's talk about the interior. The design presentation is pretty similar to a Ranger, but of course, being based on a lower grade version of the Amarok, it feels more tradey than Touareg. There's hard plastic up here, over here, looking lower down, in the center, on top of the door panel, lower down as well. Fabric trim where you rest your elbow, and fabric on the center console. But you do get a leather accented wheel, which does feel pretty nice to grip onto. Manual tilt and reach adjustment. The seats also offer manual adjustment, but they are finished off in a cheap fabric material, but at least they are pretty supportive to sit in, much better comparing it to a Ford Ranger XLT, for example. But what I don't like within this touchscreen are the functions to the climate control. So therefore, whilst you're driving, that can come across a bit annoying to use. And this version of the Amarok gets a smaller 10.1-inch screen, but the menu structure is pretty similar to other grades in the lineup, and it's basically Volkswagen's take to Ford's Sync 4. You also get wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto. There is no inbuilt navigation, but you do get voice control. And media functions include AM, FM, DAB, Bluetooth, USB A and C connections down here, and the standard speakers sound relatively decent. And like on the Ford Ranger, you have a dedicated menu for towing, where you can also perform a checklist. And for safety, you do get a reversing camera, not the full surround view camera system, but there are some dedicated views for towing. And looking down here, an integrated trailer brake controller. Plus, this car has also been fitted with a factory tow kit. You also get front and rear parking sensors, a rear cross traffic alert, but no auto dimming mirror. There is a USB port for a dash cam, automatic emergency braking, blind spot monitoring, adaptive cruise control with a lane keeping assistant and a lane departure warning, traffic sign recognition. And like on low grade versions of the Ranger, this does get an 8-inch screen with bars for the temperature and fuel gauge, but the menu structure on the right hand side is slightly customizable. There is also a selection of drive modes, but no off-road modes. You just have normal, eco, tow, slippery, and this also just gets a part-time four-wheel drive system, so two-wheel drive high range for a sealed surface, 4-wheel drive high and low range for off-road driving. This button, your hill descent control, and this button, your rear diff lock. What about the storage? Well, you have a center console, which does go down pretty deep, 2 small cup holders, wireless phone charging with a 12-volt socket, USB-C and A port. What about the glove box? Well, that does look fairly decent, and you've also got some storage up here and a section on top of the dashboard. The door bin storage is also okay. You can fit in a large water bottle. There are grab handles up here, vanity mirrors behind the sun visors, and a sunglasses holder up here. Now this does have a 40mm lift kit, but thanks to the side steps, it is easy to climb in and out, and there is no keyless entry, just a standard flip out key. What about the back seats? Well, nothing has changed compared to the regular Amarok. There are no air vents, but you do get a 12-volt socket, map pockets, door bin storage, which does not fit a large water bottle, a flip down armrest, and of course grab handles on the top. And you can also fold down the rear seat for additional space, and the bottom base of the seat also lifts up, and that'll reveal the toolkit. And lastly, for child seats, 2 ISOFIX points and top tether points on that top section. Now this version of the Amarok gets a 2-litre 4-cylinder Biturbo diesel, and it's a wet belt driven powertrain from the Ford Ranger, which has been discontinued, and it makes 154 kilowatts of power, 500 Nm of torque, and it's all paired to a 10-speed automatic. But there is no full-time 4-wheel drive system like what you get in a Ranger Tremor or even a V6 Amarok or Ranger. So instead, a standard part-time 4-wheel drive system with no additional features or drive modes. But what about towing? Well, you do have 3.5 tonnes of braked towing capacity and an unbraked figure of 750 kilograms. And in terms of off-road specs, on your screen is a breakdown on off-road angles. And now let's talk about driving impressions. So there's great forward visibility up front, good side vision, boxy wing mirrors, and at the back, clear vision as well. And although this grade does not come with a 360 camera, the reversing camera is pretty decent when it comes to definition. There's a sharp turning circle radius. The steering also gives you a lot of confidence in corners. It is pretty direct. Yes, it's not supposed to be sporty. It is a body-on-frame dual-cab ute, so a little bit of body roll, but it is one of the best handling dual-cab utes alongside the Ford Ranger, on which the Amarok is based on. So for example, a softer suspension setup, steering tune, and although this has had an increased ride height, this version has not lost the characteristics of a normal Amarok. It still feels nice and relaxing to drive. No wind noise, just a bit of noise from those all-terrain tyres at higher speeds. And even the brake pedal, front and rear disc brakes, and the brake pedal feedback is not too lurchy. It's very car-like, and even the throttle response, nice and smooth. This doesn't have the full-time 4-wheel drive system, so on a day like today, where it's wet and rainy, you don't have the same levels of grip, and when you put your foot down, it's not as punchy as a V6 Amarok. What about the safety systems? Well, the lane centering system and the lane keeping assist does come across a bit reactive, but it's certainly not as bell noisy as a GWM Canon XSR. So yeah, very similar to the Ford Ranger. And fuel consumption, Volkswagen says that this powertrain in the Amarok will achieve 8.1 litres per 100 combined. Now, with a mixture of driving on the freeway, around town and around the countryside, it is showing me 9 litres per 100, which is on par with the competition. Let's now go off-road. So like always, nothing too hardcore. We'll put it into 4-wheel drive high range, neutral, and that engages pretty quickly. And I'm going to switch on hill descent control because we are going downhill. It's a bit slow. Can we adjust the speeds? Actually, that's too fast. Is there a sweet spot? Yes, there is. Okay, that works pretty well. There's also better clearance. The bumpers don't scrub or touch. and that is thanks to the extended ride height. I'm a bit surprised that they chose this to be the off-road variant, because you don't get any 360 camera, no additional drive modes, there is no full-time four-wheel drive, and I think a Ford Ranger Tremor with the full-time four-wheel drive system, the off-road drive modes and the off-road specification is probably just a better car as an off-road dual cab ute, or even a Ford Ranger Wildtrak X. Now we do have all-terrain tyres, but it is a little bit wet today, so going up in four-wheel drive high range with no rear diff lock. And sitting just under 2000 RPM, good throttle feedback, and some people say that the Amarok isn't as good off-road as the Ranger, but I think they both feel pretty similar. But as you can see there, it went up pretty well. Everything responds a bit quicker in this than the Ranger, because sometimes selecting between four-wheel drive high and low range and some of the drive modes, they can take their time, whereas in this, it's a bit more responsive. So, what are my final thoughts on the Amarok 10 Deserts Edition? Well, being based on a lower grade version of the Amarok, it certainly doesn't feel as special as it should, so therefore a Ford Ranger Tremor or a Ford Ranger Wildtrak X are two better options. They come with more off-road equipment and a much better level of specification. But of course, let me know your thoughts. Would you still consider one of these? And did you find this video helpful? If so, like, share, subscribe, let me know your feedback. I've got plenty of videos coming very soon, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.